Hello all and welcome to episode 55 of the 3-for-1 Sky Fantasy podcast by Fantasy Football Hub. My name is Fergi and I am joined tonight by three of the most successful Sky managers in the game. Firstly, Paul McAnulty. Paul, another week, another holiday, another drinking session. That's all you seem to do. What's going on?
Yeah, it's back from Ibiza this morning. So I do owe you an apology from last week because I was making out that you were losing your mind a bit when I said that I was available today, and originally I had said I wasn't, and I'd completely got my weekends mixed up. So yeah, I'd like to apologise for that.
No apologies necessary. Just a beer in a couple of weeks, Paul, when we meet up in Bilthwells of all places. Bilthwells. I'm looking forward to that. We also have former Sky winner Dan Cox with us. Dan, I hope you're putting enough time and effort into your Sky planning as you are into your new YouTube channel and arguing on Twitter.
Do you know, I've been so busy, mate. And luckily I hadn't really done too much because with all the injuries and what's going on and stuff, I think I'll probably start Tuesday or Wednesday. I've got the Sun Dream Team to do, fan team, Sky, of course. 2 minutes before the deadline, I'll do my FPL team. And it's so busy, mate. It's been unreal.
Okay, and this evening, we also have now the sadly former Sky winner. We can't call you the reigning champion anymore, Liam. Liam Dorrian, great to have you back, Liam. How's your summer been?
Yeah, very good. Had a nice summer, toured around Ireland. Played no fancy football, needed a break, so it's good to get the break. But I was happy that I won the trophy for a wee league. But as you can see, it's a bit bent, so I think Dan needs to get me a new trophy now.
It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, that trophy. What's going on there? Is it where you launched at the wall, Dan? Did you before you packed it up? Sorry, I stole a joke there off Paul.
I probably should have spent £1 on the bubble wrap, but that cost enough to post it, so I had to cut some corners.
So you just rammed it in like an undersized box or something.
I think you just put it in a bin bag.
Okay, great stuff. For any new watchers and listeners, you are very, very welcome. If you haven't subscribed just yet, please press the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Set the alerts so you don't miss our live streams, which are 9 p.m. every Sunday evening right here on this channel. Also, please press the like button. Really appreciate having you press like if you enjoy our content. For any brand new Sky players, we have a how to play Sky Fantasy guide link in the description below, which you will find very, very useful. And as we are live, please feel free to join in the chat at any time. Let us know your thoughts on the topics and feel free to ask some questions throughout. Good evening, everyone in the chat. Peter G, Reese Bloomer, Bob Genghis, Norman Conquest, Mickey Rooney, Matt Woolley, Michael Chappell, Oliver Asht. I think Oliver is a Sky. Is it all? No, I've got it wrong. Oliver Asht is not a Sky newbie, is he? Off spinner in a hurry. Guesty, P-Test, Brownie. Welcome one, welcome all. Fantastic to see so many of us here this evening as we begin the countdown to game week 1. So we've talked fixtures, we've talked players. It's now crunch time as those final decisions need to be made with some high-profile injuries, transfers, and finishing touches to discuss ahead of our Game Week 1 teams. I've currently got a Buendia-shaped hole issue potentially in my team after today's news. And seeing he's like 7.9 million, it's not a very easy one to fill, especially when you've already got Ndidi, so he may miss Game Week 1. We've got an absolute ton of questions to get through, and we will finish as usual with Dan's rant. So firstly, Liam, assuming you've listened to the previous 2 pods, is there anything you think we've missed, or a player we've missed, or what's your kind of specific approach going to be for this season?
Yeah, no, don't worry. I have watched Patsy podcast, but no, I think everything's been covered between Mark and Ian. I think they have everything covered. So I have the spine of my team's pretty much there. So the usual Martinez, my man Diaz, he's always going to be there. Lewis Dunk, Bruno and Salah and Tony, they're my kind of backbone of the team. But the rest of my team, I've still decided. I've won Buendia too, so I've got to think about him. I don't think he's going to play. Amarte, he's my thoughts too, but I think I'm going to avoid Amarte. And I also have Mahrez in at the minute. I think Man City playing well. It's a wee bit of a risk, but I think, against Norwich, I think he could be a great player for that game. So, yeah, over the next couple of days, I'll finalise my team. And I think on Wednesday, I've got my team article coming out either Wednesday, Thursday. So that should be good. And that should be my updated team. So But no, I'm looking forward to the season. I just can't wait to get back to come Friday afternoon watching the game. So it should be fun.
Indeed. Yeah. So are you, how close are you to your final team? Obviously, barring any ridiculous injury.
Yeah, the only thing Van Dijk, depends if Van Dijk plays. I think Buendia, I have a few players I'll mention later on that I think could fill that void. And then for my last striker, I've got Antonio or Ings. They're my kind of two options. So, and also this year too, kind of the past few years, my two teams have been very different, my A and B. My B team won it 2 years ago, and last year it was dreadful. So this year what I'm doing, the teams are going to be very similar, 3-4 players, a kind of difference. So for example, my A team will have Salah, B team's going to have Mane, and then one of my teams will have Antonio and one will have Ings. So I'm kind of covering myself for them kind of few games. And then I'm thinking the other team, instead of Mahrez, I'll go Gundogan. But I'm trying to keep them similar, but only 3-4 changes. And I think that should give me a good shout between both teams to finish high and in the leaderboard.
Have you read my team reveal, Liam? Because that is my exact approach, word for word, basically. You just said there. But, no, I think
I think you had Kufal. I'm not a big fan of Kufal, though. That's one thing I would say.
All right. Stuff you then. No, I did say I'm kind of an R in, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. My second team, exactly the same. Mane, Salah. I'm even tempted to do Orba on the Friday night, and and kind of use a transfer and go Orba to Mane, because it wouldn't be massively surprising if Orba got a haul against Brentford and Mane got a haul against Norwich, right? And you could have a massive start for one transfer. But anyway, I'll decide that a bit later on. The signings, the surprise signing of Danny Ings then. So it sounds like you fancy him. Dan, have you got any thoughts on it? Has he kind of come into your reckoning at all, or because you've got Martinez, you happy without him, or?
No, like I said, most Villa fans think they're going to win the league, so I think you've got to have him in. But I 9.1 in he. Yeah. A couple of seasons ago, he was great when I think we all had him in a couple of seasons ago. I know last season weren't as great, but I don't see why not. He scored today, didn't he? Although I ain't quite caught up with it because recovering from a wedding. But I know he didn't take the penalty. I take it he was still on, but El Ghazi took the penalty because I thought he might take the pens. But I think he's a good option. Whether they're going to play the two up top or Watkins is going to be out to the left or whatever, but I think he's a good option. I'm pretty certain he's going to start the weekend because he started today. He's had a pre-season with Southampton. I like him. I think he's a good price.
Comment from Hornet in the chat. Bite Size seems to be doing similar stuff to Fancy Football Scout.
Can't comment.
No comment. Illegal representatives. That's all.
I don't want Will's inbox to be overflowing, so I can't.
Paul, any thoughts on Ings? Have you considered him for your team, or are you just set with your three up front?
I've thought about it. I like Ings. I've tried to punt on him at the end of last season as well. Might use my last transfer on Danny Ings. It didn't pay off. I have thought about it, but I was just set on kind of what I've got just now.
Yeah.
I've only made one change to my team in 3 weeks that I've had it up, which is very unusual for me. But I don't want to overthink things, so I'm quite happy with where I am just now.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I've been kind of messing around my FPL team and Telegraph team and Dream Team and stuff, and the Sky one really, because it's such a small period of 3 weeks, and the way the fixtures fell. It was, kind of reasonably easy to navigate with some of the key players. My team hasn't moved much. I'm kind of an R in, as Liam said, Soufal. I have got 1.3 in the bank or something, so I could go up to like Maguire or even Rudiger or someone like that. It was just my kind of thought at the time. But other than that, really, the vast majority of the team has stayed pretty much the same. Andy Robertson limped off earlier. For anyone who hasn't seen that, with quite a nasty looking injury, actually. I think the kind of early Twitter diagnosis was that he may have done, he definitely sprained it, I think is a minimum, but he may have done his ligaments. I would guess he'd be probably out for a few weeks, I would guess, because it looked pretty bad. I've never even looked how to pronounce this chap's name, but Tsimikas, I think he's 6.6. But there is always the risk of Milner as well, I suppose, because he's filled in there before as well. Liam, what are your thoughts on risking Simicast with, obviously with no press conference sort of confirmation?
Yeah, I personally wouldn't. I know he has 6.6. He's cheap. I think he hasn't played a Premier League game yet. Didn't play all last season, I don't think. But the fact is, you got Muller there. Muller can play. So I think what's important for these 3 games is you need a player who's going to play every game. And that's kind of my main rules: get players to play every game. And I'm not sure he's going to play every game, so that's why he's not good in my team. So I don't think I will.
Who do you think is going to partner Van Dijk as well? Because I had Konate in my draft as well, but you just said just before we went on air that you think it might be Matip.
I think I made Matip's cool. I think the last 2 preseason games, it's been TA, Matip, Van Dijk, and Robbo. They've started the past 2 preseason games in a row. So I think Matip's there while he's fit for now. So I think he might be first choice of Konate for now. I might have him in my team, but I brought him in last year and I got injured after 35 minutes.
And he was on for maximum everything, wasn't he? He was on for passing and tackles and whatever.
I think I brought him in. I had Gabriel, brought him in. He missed 2 games with COVID. And then I got rid of him for Matip and he got injured after 35 minutes and I just gave up then. I was just so annoyed. But hopefully he can stay fit now.
Did you say you had a Marty earlier in your team? Did I hear you say, Liam?
I do for now, but I don't think I will have him in my team. I think Leicester, they will get another central defender because he's in the Europa League this year too. So I think they're definitely going to sign another one. So I don't think it's worth the risk because he can play game week 1, but then 2 and 3, he might not. If you are going to go with Amartey and take the risk, I would definitely have another West Ham or Leicester player because you don't want to have Amartey. You've got the single game day the following Monday, and you don't want to just be Amartey on the bench and actually no captain. So I'll definitely have a backup player from Leicester or West Ham in your team just in case.
Just while we're talking about that, then, who are your favourite picks from Leicester and West Ham?
So for West Ham, it's only really Antonio. That's the only player that's really interested me. The defenders doesn't interest me. Like defenders, I like to get bonus points. And I think I tweeted last week that West Brom, they don't get, or West Ham, they don't get many bonus points, so that's why I don't like them. Midfield, Souček, he'll be one, but I think he's very hot and cold, so it's only Antonio at the minute. I've seen someone ask me tweet earlier on about Benrahma. I'm not a huge fan of him, to be honest. I think I checked last year, he only did the full 90 minutes twice all last year. So he's kind of got the player for me that he played a 70 minutes and gets substituted. And that would just really, really annoy me. So I'm just staying away from him for now. So it's just Antonio. For Leicester, there's a few players. Tielemans, Ndidi, I like, and Soyuncu and Pereira. I like Pereira because, he's the different methods of getting tackles or points. Yeah. He gets tackles. So 2 years ago when he was my team, when I won, he was unbelievable. He averaged 4.3 tackles per game, and he was just guaranteed, I think 3 points every game for tackles. I like him because he can get tackles, he gets all passes, but also he's got clean sheets. That's why I think he's a good player. And then Ndidi's good, but the problem with Ndidi is pretty much just either passes or tackles. He gets passes more often than tackles. Tackles are very kind of vague in when you can and can't get them. Tielemans I like too because Tielemans can get tackles, he can get passes, and he can also get goals and assists. So he's kind of got 4 ways of scoring. So they're kind of my main ones. Maddison, staying away. I had him last year. He was dreadful. I think he was just 2-2-2-2-2 the whole way through. So I'm playing a bit safe and going for players who get bonus points and kind of keep ticking over. Vardy, staying away from Vardy. I think he's getting a bit old. He doesn't look as sharp.
I'm older than Vardy.
Are you?
And me, and Dan, and Paul. We're all older than Jamie Vardy, aren't we, I think?
I'm a bit younger, thankfully. I'm staying away from him. I think like Vardy now last year, you watch him play and he touched a ball like 5 times the whole game. It's just really hard to watch him, so I'm just staying away from now. And same for Nacho, he didn't play yesterday, so I think just avoid because you need a player who's going to play every game. So that's my thoughts on them 2 teams.
What about Harvey Barnes, Liam?
Harvey Barnes, yes, that's no one to cover him. Yeah, he was very, very good. He was very good last year, wasn't he, before he got injured?
He was awesome at one.
He was very, very good player. He looked very sharp yesterday. He's probably another one too. Yes, thanks, Paul, for mentioning that. I think he's another one. He could be very good.
I think with Barnes, you're probably only reliant on attacking returns, aren't you? Whereas with with Tielemans, he's got these kind of multiple avenues. Ndidi is mainly tackles and maybe passing, but Barnes, he's only going to return if he gets like
goal or assist day.
Goals or assists, yeah. FPL Hazard said he thinks Nacho is being overlooked, and Paul Haggerty and Fancy Football New both fancy Barnes. Tom Hartnell fancies Tielemans, and Captain Rex is just. I've got one last player on my list to talk about. Is Bertrand worth a shout as he's playing at left wing back? Paul, I haven't come to you yet. Have you had your eyes on Bertrand at all? He's certainly taken mine.
No, I think with Bertrand, that's put me off Tielemans. Any thoughts I had about getting Tielemans with because he was on a lot of the set pieces last season. Maybe because Maddison was injured in spells as well. But I'm like what Liam says. I'd mirror that in that if I'm picking players, I like a base of 4 or 5 points as opposed to base of 2. So I don't see Bertrand picking up passing bonus, similar to the West Ham defence and Villa defence. I know it's quite fancied as well. Just it's not my style to pick those players. I prefer players that are guaranteed or make passing bonus 2 out of 3 games, so that you start off with a bigger base than the 2 points to begin with.
Dan, any interest in Bertrand, or do you think there's better Leicester options?
Pereira.
So
many tackles he made yesterday.
Yeah, was it 5
8 or something? I think
was it 8? Was it?
Was it 5? I don't know. He got to.
I had 5 in my mind, but it
tackles,
might have been 8. Yeah. I think he might have had 8 attempted and 5 successful, wherever it was. But yeah, no, it's he's pretty good. Do you think he's nailed? I know you mentioned last week, Paul, that I kind of was last week, the week before, but you were a little bit nervous around the fullbacks for Leicester because they had so many options. Is that still the case, or do you think Pereira is pretty good for the first 3?
I think Pereira definitely plays the first game. Castagna is back in training. I think I read somewhere, and he was mostly deployed on the right hand side, although he can play the left back as well. He was mostly deployed on the right, so I would be worried about the game time. As a 3-week punt though, I think if I was going any Leicester defender, I'd probably pick Soyuncu because he's likely to pick up passing bonus anyway.
I just find him quite boring, but it's boring. The boring play that wins the leagues, isn't it?
Lacazette versus Holding.
Rob Holding cost me my whole season last season because he put me on tilt. Or did I put myself on tilt? Okay, let's have.
When you didn't bring Patricio in that time.
Oh yeah, for the 2 games, wasn't it? Because I got burnt by Van Aanholt previously.
It made you concentrate on winning Sun, so it was all worked out all right.
All right. If I haven't had the money for them yet. That's the only thing for that. I still haven't had the cash from that, so I still owe you all.
I'll text the boss in the morning.
Oh, it's okay. We're
sorted.
We're in touch now. We're best buds now, so it's all
nice.
Good. It's all good. Okay, let's just have a quick look ahead to next weekend. Preview of Game Week 1. This is not the most exciting of previews. There's only 3 games. We pretty much know who we're gonna be playing and captaining, but Friday the 13th obviously is the first game. The deadline will be 8 o'clock. We get to see the teams before we pick. I know Ivan Toney. He didn't play yesterday, but the manager said, there'll be no way of stopping him playing on Friday. So I think he's pretty good. Outside of, Paul, go on.
If Toney isn't in the starting lineup, what are you thinking of doing? Are you thinking of bringing an Arsenal player or skipping?
I wish you hadn't have asked me, because that's probably the one thing which I haven't actually thought about. That's a good question. I think off the top of my head, I might be tempted by an Arsenal player, because I think, I know we're all focusing on Toney, but Arsenal, the back end of last season, were actually pretty decent, and they finished the season off well. So instantly I think of Aubameyang, but probably if I do go Aubameyang, it means a transfer immediately. So either Aubameyang or nothing. I'm not really interested, in someone like White or Xhaka. And actually, Xhaka could fill my Buendia spot at 7.5. That's maybe something to think about. Maybe. But like I say, I'm thinking off the top of my head at the moment. I haven't prepared anything for that. Lacazette, did you say? Absolutely not. Anyone else got any, kind of advances on Tony? Any real arguments why we should be going for someone else? Nope.
Just hoping he'd play.
I give the reasons why. I just think his ownership was like would kill you if he did anything. So that's why I'm pretty set on him. I'm still not too sure what I'd do myself if.
1 and 2, Fergie. If you've Xhaka or if you've 20 and doesn't play and you want to get a Aubameyang, you're probably going to have to do a bit of rearranging your team because of budget.
Because the price. You're right. Yeah.
You're going to have to change 2 or 3 players, and any new players. Usually on the first day, Sky, sometimes the site can crash. So try and get your team in good and early, kind of around 3 or 4 o'clock, and just hope he prays, because sometimes in the past it's been carnage. So just
I think I haven't thought about that exactly yet, but I will certainly have a an A and a B plan, right? Because at the moment, I don't know what you guys. I'm kind of finding it quite hard just to spend all my money. It's because obviously Salah and Bruno are a premium. Diaz is a premium defender, but other than that, there's not a lot, and there's quite a lot of value as well in there, But I think we can reasonably easily sort of rearrange it. Glenn and Phil says Buemo supposed to play at front if no Tony. Martins, I think Aubrey is the best choice for that first game. I think I'm going to go with Aubrey in my second team. You could get off to an absolute flyer there, because it's very 50-50. Norman thinks Pepe is the best option, and I noticed I think today that Pepe was on quite a few set pieces as well. So I'm not sure how much he is Pepe. I would guess he's probably 8 point something.
8.6. He's 8.6.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward price, but
it's the thing with Pepe that he was taking penalties at the end of last season, but that's because Aubameyang wasn't in the starting 11.
Yeah.
I think that's heightened his appeal and kind of brought him to the forefront of people's minds quite a bit.
So I'm going Tony in my A team, Aubameyang in my B team, I think, and then just moving on to Saturday, I'm going to go Mane in my B team, because I don't think there's much between Salah and Mane. Definitely not as much as last season. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does work, oosh, here we go. I will be flying. So on to Saturday, we get to see the lineups for United and Leeds. Then it's Burnley, Brighton, Chelsea. Isn't it lovely to see all the 3 o'clocks back? Oh my goodness, it's absolutely amazing. Chelsea, Palace, Everton, Southampton, Leicester, Wolves, Watford, Villa, Norwich, and Liverpool. So the stock captain, I think, is going to be Salah. Any advances on Salah? Liam, have you had any other thoughts of any other players?
No, it's pretty much been Salah. So Salah A team, and probably Mane captain B team. Maybe Fernandez, but I say probably Mane because I think Norwich away is probably a better fixture.
Yeah. Anyone else, guys? Are you pretty stuck? I think Rudiger to Palace may be all right. No, I guess
if Chelsea had signed Lukaku at that point, and there was a guarantee that he was going to play, but I know there's not, and you won't see the lineup either. But you could start well. Ulan, in the chat says, what about Arsenal's number 10, Emile Smith-Rowe? Yeah, I think he's a decent option. I think the only price he is. It's just, again, you're probably relying on attacking returns, whereas with Xhaka you've got that a little bit of everything, haven't you? A little bit of red card. I think Salah is probably the obvious choice. I think Bruno is there against Leeds. Apparently Leeds away. Expected goals conceded was pretty shocking last season. I think the game last season at Old Trafford, was it 6-2 or something? I think 6-2, absolutely annihilated.
3 goals.
So not a bad show.
McTominay got 2 great goals too that game.
What's that?
McTominay got 2 great goals that game. So he got 2 goals in the first 10 minutes.
He did. I remember I had Rashford in Dream Team, and United had scored 5 goals, and Rashford had 0 involvement. I was absolutely fuming. And then on the Sunday, then Newcastle and West Ham, Spurs and Man City. Antonio, I think I think we've all, well, I say all, a few of us have probably got Antonio, Spurs and Man City. We don't really know. Liam, you did mention Mahrez just before we started off. What are your thoughts on Mahrez?
I think if I'm more captain, probably go Diaz. he's DS, I know he's going to get passing, so that's going to be, even if they concede, that's still 10 points, which is pretty good. I think I would probably captain DS over Mahrez, but then week after I'd probably captain Mahrez just because it's Norwich away or Norwich at home, so he could do damage there. My B team with Antonio, I think I might go Antonio. I think Newcastle, they haven't signed one really. They look a bit dodgy defence pre-season. I think Antonio could be a good shout there.
Did you see City play yesterday?
I've seen, but yeah, they didn't look the same, didn't they? They looked a bit not going on full cylinders, but I think Antonio's been good in pre-season, so I might give Antonio. I think it's Newcastle. There'll be goals in that game, I think.
Okay. Adam Byron, that's a really good shout. He said Jota would be a big differential. Should be nailed for the first few. I'm not sure about the first few personally. I know Firmino, he was late back, so he probably missed the first one, but surely, he'd be available for the following week. You would guess. I don't know. Have you guys got any, strong thoughts on that either way?
I think Liverpool have another free pre-season game tomorrow, so if it's in that, so we'll keep an eye on that. Any
interest in Jota, Paul? Or is it a bit of a risk for you?
I'm just playing the big numbers just now. Like the ownership of Salah and captaincy of Salah will be pretty high, so I'm gonna stick.
Would you recommend Jota as a differential?
To go alongside him?
No, I suppose like a B team or something, yeah, but B team captain or something, or
maybe I'm going to try and mirror my B team with my A team this season. I'm just picking exactly the same 11. But yeah, if it's one of those situations where you don't mind if Salah goes and scores a hat trick. If Jota scores a hat trick and you've captained Salah, it's not the end of the world because there'll only be a few low percentage people have done it. But if you've captained Jota and Salah scores a hat trick, which isn't out of, it's not a crazy suggestion. Are you prepared to throw away your second team at that point? If the answer is yes, then by all means go for it. But I want to try and stay in as long as I can with both.
Okay, we asked questions about Grealish, Tom, and Captain Rex. Have any of you guys got any interest in Grealish? I know Liam's point in the way he plays the game about having nailed on players. Dan, what do you think about Grealish?
Let me just get his price up quickly. I think he's 9 million, but let me just double check.
I think he is, yeah.
9 million. Yes, I think I probably will have him throughout the season. Whether at the start, I don't know. He did come on, didn't he, Saturday? But I don't know. I think he'll be on the shortlist for after the overhaul, I think. But I don't think I'll start with him. I just don't want to take any risks.
38% owned, apparently, according to Fancy Football Move. I know he was really highly owned. We'll have a look at the ownership in a minute now. But he is. He could be a bit of a killer if he goes and has a stormer on Sunday. We could find our ranks plummeting.
But then I think Kane is quite high owned anyway. He was during the week. I think he was like up high 30s and stuff as well. So, and he's not even expected to play, is he? So that's good news for us if we ain't got him and he don't play.
Okay, with that in mind then, let's have a quick look at the overall player ownership. So Mohamed Salah, 41%. He's just overtaken Bruno, but right behind Grealish, 38%. So he's only 3% off the top owned player in the whole game. That's quite scary, actually. Paul, as an ownership player, does that potentially sway you at all towards Grealish? Maybe not so much for, to captain him this weekend, but potentially next weekend or to own him next weekend, or just think your captains are all right?
I might sound a bit of a hypocrite by saying this, but it doesn't bother me at all because I just don't think there'll be a lot of engaged managers or experienced Sky managers. That's not to say that an inexperienced Sky manager can't win the game. If you get up to speed on the concept of the game and the bonus point scoring and daily captains, then you could get off to a flyer anyway. I just, to the point where he's not nailed on, so would I be comfortable captaining him in any game apart from the third game week? Definitely not. I'm not even convinced he starts against Spurs. He might do, but I don't think he's a big fantasy point scorer anyway. Like he's very good on the eye. Like he holds the ball really well. He's like good travel over the ball, but he's not like someone that guarantees tackling bonus every game or shooting bonus every game. He picked up a lot of points at the start of last season from his man of the match ability, which may come in handy here. But for 3 points, yeah, it's not something that massively concerns me. I've not got any thoughts about getting him pre-overhaul anyway. If I think he's nailed or at least in favour to start maybe 75% of games after, then at 9 million would be a nice price point. But yeah, certainly not considering it just now.
Okay, Harry Kane 30% owned, then Luke Shaw 26, Mason Mount 20. All these players who none of us have got. Kevin De Bruyne 20. It looks like Kane and De Bruyne you guess are going to miss game week 1. Martinez 20, and then Maguire, Diaz, Trent, Saka, Bamford, and Stones. They're all the players over 15% ownership. There's not
a lot of England fans.
A lot of England fans,
aren't they?
exactly.
Based on that Euros, they just picked all of them, aren't they? That's what that is.
You're absolutely right, but it's interesting, and when you can see that, just by looking at that, as you say, Dan, I noticed that as well. Is you can tell the profile of the vast majority of managers, kind of unengaged or disengaged managers who play the game with those kind of picks, those who aren't even playing in game week 1, a lot of them.
I know that don't really come into it till later on in the season, but you'd think of all the sort of people that listen to this pod, I'd like to sort of see the percentages of the players picked. Do you know what I mean? I know we then get onto the top 1,000 as we go on, but even the first few weeks it won't be that way. But I'd like to sort of, if we could get the numbers of regular Sky managers, they'd be quite different.
Gilmore's at 4.5%, so maybe that's the Scots making up the numbers.
Brilliant. And we've got overall percent owned by team. So I think last week when we checked, Man City were around 130%. They're now up to 165, with Grealish, De Bruyne, and Diaz making of that. Man United are up to 130%, and Liverpool up to 120. Chelsea are on 98. Villa 89, and then we go down a bit then to Leicester, Leeds, Arsenal, and Spurs. Watford, Norwich, Palace, Burnley, and Wolves are all under 15%. You'd assume that the Brighton won the 17. Heavy proportion of that would probably be Ivan Toney. So interesting actually. Just looking back at the other one, that Toney nor Aubameyang are both on that list of the top 13%. So Saka's in there, as is Ben White, 7.8. So maybe maybe the masses are thinking of captaining White or Saka in that game if he starts, which is quite interesting as well. So again, we could get off to an awful start if Ben White smashes the pass in and Arsenal keep a clean sheet and Tony blanks. We could be down in the 100,000s again, the same as last season. Okay, let's go on to questions, of which we've got so many questions. Thank you so much to everyone who sent them in. We have masses to get through, so let's try and get through as many as we can. So Martin Beasley asks, best budget midfielder. And this was one you mentioned earlier, Liam. So, a few of us potentially looking for a Buendia replacement, myself included. Who should I be picking?
So I've written down a few people. One's Dallas. I know he's my fielder, but I actually... My Friday at work, I was quiet, so I calculated how much points he got. 161 points he got last year if he were classified as a midfielder. It's not bad when 7.5. I think that's a decent score. So I've got Dallas, Tielemans, Barnes, Rafinha. If you're feeling very punty, Newcastle don't have bad fixtures, not too bad. ASM, Saint-Maximin, Benrahma. And then I also have Xhaka and Didi. And Fabinho. I think Fabinho starts games. I think he's good for passing. I would have had Thiago, but I'm not sure he plays all 3 games, so that's why I left him out. But they're my alternatives. Or on else, if you're playing a 4 midfield, you could go to someone like Dunk, who I think is a good option. He's good fixtures. He can get passing bonus. He's another alternative. So they're my kind of alternatives for Buendia.
Who should I be replacing Buendia with? Who would your recommendation be?
My two picks would be either Tielemans or Barnes. They'd be my other two.
I can't afford either of those.
Can't afford it. And what's your budget?
7.9.
7.9 million. Two options. I would go 3. I think Dallas is a good option. He's in midfield. I think if Dallas plays in defence, I think he's a higher chance of getting tackles and passes. Because I think last year he didn't get as much passes or tackles when he's in midfield, but I think when he's in the right back or left back, I think it's more. I would have 3 options. Ndidi, I think because he can get the passes and tackles. Xhaka, if you want to captain first game week, I think if you captain that first Friday, I think he will get passing. That's 10 points. I know the next 2 games are tough. I think Man City and Chelsea, I think it is. But I think it's a good shot of getting tackle bonus. He might get the odd yellow card, but I think that's something you got to deal with. Xhaka, you know what he's like. But there'll be my 3 options. So it'll be Ndidi, Xhaka, or Dallas.
We've had some shouts in the chat of Stephen called I meant a couple of times about John McGinn. He was, he had a good back end of the season, McGinn, didn't he? I'm not sure how much he is actually. Any idea?
I think I had John McGinn, I think 2 years ago. I think that first few weeks he just kept scoring every week. And then I think everyone brought him in then, and he just nothing for about 10 weeks anyway. So he's very hot and cold. The only thing, McGinn, I know last year he doesn't get many bonus points. He doesn't get passing. He gets tackles all the time. He gets all goal assists, but it's not on a regular basis. So I wouldn't really go near McGinn.
McGinn, okay. Paul, any other thoughts on on in that spot? Just Phil just said Matt Target for Buendia. I've personally already got a back 4, so just looking for a like for like midfielder.
I know that you're not necessarily a fan because I was talking to you about him in FPL earlier on, but Sarr from Watford,
yeah, it's not a bad shout.
They've got nice opening fixtures. I think he's on penalties, or he is when Deeney's not on the pitch. I think he's 7.8.
Yeah, I think he is. Good shout. Anyone else, Dan?
I think Liam's covered them all there. Going on about Dallas, I was thinking the same the other day. When they first thought, he's a midfielder, no, forget him. But when you think, well, he's actually only 7.5, it is still a good price. And the points he would have got, the goals and the tackles and the passing, I think he's still a good option. So I think I talked myself out of him straight away. But I have actually added him back onto the shortlist because I think he's a nice price that just works out well. Because I've had Buendia in since day one. And now it looks like he might have his hip injury or whatever. So I'm like, Dallas, I can save myself 0.4 there now or whatever. So, yeah, I think he's a good option.
Shane White has chucked in Willock at 7.8 as well. So it looks like he's definitely going to Newcastle. I don't think he get much bonus, but he's definitely another option there. Hornet is a Marty, the perfect enabler. So Liam mentioned that earlier. I think is he 6.7 or something like that? Or 6.6,
I think. Or is that the Liverpool guy? I can't remember now.
He's 5.7, sorry. Wow. That is.
As I said earlier, you're running the risk. He could play the first game, but if Leicester, during the Europa League, I think Evans is always injured. Fofana's out for a long time. They're definitely going to sign centre-back. He could play the first game, but that second game, he might not play second or third game, so that's a risk. I probably won't because I like to have players from team that I know are going to play every week, and I don't have to worry, so he probably won't be my team.
Dan Young says, would you consider enabler like Nkamba at 5.6? I know I mentioned Moda a couple of times as well. He's very, very cheap as well. I know it just saves you a couple of million potentially. Would you guys be happy just out of interest? We've discussed in the past, haven't we, with players like, I don't know, Gilbert and, those 4 point whatever's a few years ago. Vinaga was the other one. Yeah, you're right. About, just basically going with 10 players and then just going with whoever else. Is that something you'd ever recommend, or do you think we should be looking to target all 11 spots? Dan, what do you think about
that? In the past, I know me and Paul have done it, but I honestly don't think you need to. I think I could pick a team I'm quite happy with that they're all going to start without having any risk. So you can do, but I just don't feel you need to at the minute. Maybe once they add Lukaku in and he's playing, then you might have to have someone really cheap like that if you want to have a Salah, Lukaku, or all these Kane and stuff like that. But at the minute, I don't think so.
And hold on to the question, would you go Diaz or Mahrez? Just one word answers. Mine is Diaz. I think Paul, yours was Diaz, was it? I know Liam's is Diaz. Dan?
Yeah, I think he's safer.
Yeah, cool, okay. FF Thinker, if I said you played 5 in midfield and between them they would get 15 sets of bonus points, would you take it? That's interesting. So basically, putting in Ndidi, Xhaka, and I don't know, five bonus sort of magnets. Would you be happy with that every week, or would you want more from your set of 5 midfielders? So it's an interesting question. Liam, what are your initial thoughts? I can see you kind of looking up to the sky, trying to work out whether you'd be happy or not.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I think 515, you're 75 points. That's 5 points a game over the 3 games. That's not bad. Personally, if I was doing that, I wouldn't do 5 midfielders. I would have 5 at the back, because 5 at the back, I would get 5 defenders who get past almost every game. Plus, on top of that, they would have the extra of getting clean sheets with another 5 points. So that's what I would do. But I can see where it's come from. 5 midfield, yes. It's something I do every year. I think every year my teams, after overhaul, I always have some kind of enabler who gets me them points. So I think last year I had Højbjerg for so long. The previous year I had Henderson, I had Xhaka. So I think every team, enabler is always a great player to have, because I think if you look at the top scoring players, even last year, Højbjerg got 180. He's up there. Rodri, I think he got 191. He's up there. You see the top midfielders, some of the top players, they all get passing, tackle bonus, and most of them kind of enablers. So it'll be an interesting strategy, but I don't know if you get 5 midfielders who get 5 points every game. Yep. Only a few of them, but it'll be interesting. But yeah, I would do 5 at the back, because you get passing and potential clean sheets. That's what I would do. I know it's more expensive, but that's what I would do.
Okay, we've answered Tom SkyFF's question on Grealish about his ownership, and we'll be picking him. I think the resounding answer at the moment is no. We think, just yes, he's just the man there, right? Quick questions. Josh Campion, I've got Maguire in my team. Keep him or change to Shaw. Paul, what do you think about that? Who would you prefer, Maguire or Shaw? I think Maguire's 9.4 and Shaw's 9.1 or something.
Yeah, I'd prefer Wan-Bissaka out of all 3 of them.
Tackles, is it?
The tackling bonus. He's got the same passing potential as what Shaw's got.
Yeah.
I held Maguire. I know this bias comes in, but I've held him before and he's done nothing for me, even though his passing stats over the course of the season look okay. I don't think there's any guarantees, and I remember that the hard way. So yeah, I'm not sure
they're going to get much of the ball against Leeds either, are they? To be able to knock it round, because they're going to be pressed in that first game. It's a really good point, actually.
I'd say Wan-Bissaka probably get tackles that game, though. He probably get tackles against Leeds.
I got Maguire in at the moment, so I may think about a shift there. This is why I love doing this pod every week, because it just helps keep my ship somewhat on course.
I see Maguire 9.4. See, like over the season, I'll probably never go near Maguire. I think if you have Chelsea, you think you got Rudiger, you got Azpilicueta, who are cheaper. They get Chelsea pass the ball a lot more. They're better defensively. I think I did a Maguire last year. Didn't even think about bringing him in because he just doesn't get enough passing bonus. So yeah, I'd probably go with like Chelsea or Cancelo. He outscored him a good bit. So yeah, Maguire's well done to picking out in my views anyway.
If I was shopping around the 9 million mark, Rudiger would be my go-to.
Yeah,
my go-to would be Azpilicueta.
Wow. Okay.
I think it worked out. Azpilicueta, Azpilicueta played 5 games more started than Rudiger, but he got 23 more bonus points. I feel like Azpilicueta, his average passes per game are higher than Rudiger. Also, tackles are higher. I think he gets off the pitch a wee bit more than Rudiger. So I know it's extra 3 million, but I think Azpilicueta's definitely ahead. Or I would go with Azpilicueta over Rudiger anyway.
Thoughts on Rodri from John MacArthur? I think a few of us did okay out of Rodri. I think a couple of us got stung as well. I personally think with Rodri, over a period, if it was a period of we're talking about 8 or 10 games, I'd personally be tempted because he'd probably pay 7 or 8 out of the 10, right? But with Fernandinho fit and starting yesterday, I would guess he's probably going to nick at least one of the games out of the 3, so he only gets to 2. Any advances on that at all?
Yeah, I was actually he started yesterday, but I doubt so. I'll probably just leave it after overhaul.
Yeah, same. Fancy football noob, thoughts on Vardy this season? Dan, what do you think about Vardy? Has he entered your thoughts at all?
He's always there at the back because if like people who listen for a while know, like I sort of don't seem to have him when he scores all his goals, and then I'll bring him in, and then like that's the games Liam talks about where you watch the whole game and he'll touch it 3 times or something like that. So I think I'm just going to avoid him the whole season, and then at least I can't get frustrated when I own him and he doesn't score, and hopefully he won't score too many goals.
Said Benrahma seems to be,
like him a lot,
being talked about a lot. And I don't know if anyone saw the video earlier. I saw a video on Twitter earlier where Antonio kind of grabbed him in front of the cameras at the end of the game and was saying like he's on fire or something. That's always a good sign. He's played really well in pre-season. 7.8. He's actually another one. The only problem is obviously if you've got Antonio, you're doubling up then on West Ham attack, which is not ideal. If someone didn't have Antonio, Paul, do you think Benrahma would be a suitable person? Just obviously purely for attacking returns, I suppose.
Yeah, from a coverage perspective, I guess so. Again, I think Antonio's ownership is going to be pretty high, so I wouldn't go without him. But I think he's filling in that kind of role that Jesse Lingard was playing towards the end of last season as well. So I certainly think he'll start the season, and whether he starts the first 3, I'm not sure. He finished last season pretty well as well. I think he had 3 attacking returns in his last 5 games, and
nice.
And he didn't necessarily start all of those as well. So he is on a bit of form.
Okay, so who is the best defensive bonus magnet? So we've touched on these, but it's the best one we think. So Højbjerg and Ndidi, Thiago, or others. This is off Ollie Poole. Who is nailed on for bonus? Who is your bonus magnet? Dan, out of those, Højbjerg and Ndidi, Thiago, or another?
If Spurs, I honestly don't know. Højbjerg did do well last season, but I don't know how they're going to be under Nuno. I just think he probably will still be all right. So yeah, probably. I am debating like whether to. This is the time where you could have a Benrahma. It's only for 3 games, isn't it? Do I want to be boring and have Højbjerg and get 5, or could I have Benrahma gets a couple of goals and you sort of got to jump on people who are playing safe? So I don't really know, but yeah, Højbjerg was good last season. Can't see why he wouldn't be again. But yeah, all the ones mentioned really. We know all the ones who get all the passes and tackles. So any of them?
Okay. Well, we've kind of answered this. Owen Jones, how many Man City players would you like to have in your team from Gameweek up until the first overhaul? I think we probably, maybe all on one. Liam was tempted by Mara. Is Mara actually in your team, Liam, or?
He's in my team now, so I think he's in my team, so 2 Man City, but I wouldn't go any more 2 because Pep Roulette. I've written down the sheet. There's 5 players I would consider. Ederson, he's back. He will be back next week. He's nailed on the start. Diaz, Cancelo. I think Cancelo, he'd definitely start 2, 3. I'm not sure. I think he will. I think he's another good option. Gundogan and Mahrez did only 5 that I would consider. The rest I wouldn't go near.
Awesome. Question from Captain Rex. What do you guys want of your defenders for the first 3 games? 10 points, passing clean sheets, or attacking options with TAA, etc. I think, I personally think, obviously Alexander-Arnold has got, an above average sort of attacking return prospects, but I think in Sky generally we look for passing for me anyway. You guys, feel free to disagree. Passing is probably the first thing we look for because it's quite predictable. Tackles maybe second, attacking returns third. Paul, do you think that's right, or yeah?
Yeah, I wouldn't consider attacking returns have much weight in my decision making.
Yeah, they literally are. They're the bonus, really, aren't they? If if you kind of get one. Dan, do you agree with that?
Yeah, can't go against that.
Cool. A couple of the guys are tinkering with their team now. Sean Thorpe says, "Tinker with the team live. We need the budget. Would Darlow be an option? The goalkeeper, if he is back playing." Didn't you say earlier?
Woodburn played yesterday. Darlow and Dubravka are both injured.
Yeah, Woodburn. I don't even know if he's in the game. Is he Woodburn? But it's worth having a look. If he is in the game, he'd be mega cheap. And Phil Speck changed my team 3 times tonight so far. watching this, and Mickey Rooney 6 or 7 for me. Off spinner in a hurry, excuse me, asks best current enabler in the game. I think my cheapest player at the moment, which I'm quite surprised he's so cheap, and it's maybe because he was injured the start of last season, but Ndidi for me at 7.5 I think is massively underpriced, and I think he's probably fantastic neighbour. Even Tony at 7.9, I think because we've got that game on the Friday. If we hadn't had that game, we may not be as sweet on Tony, but that captaincy game is pretty big. Any other guys? Anyone cheaper than Ndidi at 7.5? Who you realistically?
I think Webster for Brighton, 7 million.
Yeah, good shout.
Brighton, they've got Burnley, Watford, Everton. They've good fixtures. I think I checked on last year's games. They didn't get passing v Burnley, but against Watford and Everton, they did get passing. But you'd hope this year, they played Burnley last year in January. It was bad days. Hopefully this year, it's sunny. They might get passing. But I think he's a good shout. I think they will get at least 2-tier bonus in 2 of the games, and I think they've decent out of clean sheet. So I think he's a good defensive enabler anyway.
Yeah.
If I was going any cheaper and I wanted someone that's starting, I think the lowest I would go is 6 million for Sorella, who plays centre half for Watford.
Yeah.
I've not gone there because I've managed to make up my team of. I didn't need someone that cheap to get the players in I wanted, but if I was looking for someone, I think that's as low as I'd go. I'd probably prefer him over Amartey and others around those price points.
Richard Laycock says Nathan Teller has enabled for 3 weeks at 6.5. That would be the ultimate differential.
He was benched this weekend, though.
What's that?
He was benched this weekend.
Yeah, he was benched in the most recent game. He came on like 80th minute or something, but he's played a few before. I think he could be he's in my FPL squad at the moment because I think he could be a sneaky one maybe in a few weeks. But yeah, you've got no idea if he's going to start all 3. It's a bit of a waste then. You're relying on him 1 starting and 2 scoring, which is both are probably unlikely at this time.
Was it Ollie Poole that had mentioned the defensive midfielders and who the best defensive midfielder was?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
Ollie.
I think it was.
And in the question, he didn't have Romeo as one of his options.
Do you know what? Someone said Romeo in the chat earlier, but he didn't. He didn't. Shane White just points out that Twansby to Villa confirmed, assuming an avoid for overhaul, potential after overhaul shout at 6.6. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Good question from Lee Williams. What factors would you take into consideration over the next 3 weeks to determine the prime formation? A few seasons back, we were all on 5 at the back, and last season 3 up front. Lee believes there's more value in defence this year. Dan, what determines your formation?
So yeah, I think he's right. So yeah, I think you could go with 5-3-2, because there's only 3 weeks to the overhaul. The only problem with the 5-3-2 is if one of your midfielders gets injured, you obviously got to replace him with another midfielder. You get a bit locked into that formation, don't you? But no, I think he is. There's always value in the defence. So don't know what I'm trying to say really. Yeah, I think he is right.
I think the price points kind of determine the formation a lot of time, where the value is. We're saying if Rudiger, Diaz, Van Dijk were all fit, all had good fixtures, that we would, and obviously you need Salah and Bruno or whatever else, that would probably help determine it. I think for me it's the pricing of the players determines the formation.
I think we'll have a problem. You can imagine if Kane goes to Man City, and like I said, Lukaku's coming in, you're going to want Salah, Lukaku and Kane, aren't you? So then that is when you're going to be like, so any 5 million defenders about? No. Because you're just going to have throw in Bruno Fernandes and whoever else you want as well, Diaz and stuff like that. It's just, I think we're going to have a problem from the overhaul. And the fixtures are out, but we won't go into that now. We'll
all have Jakob Moder in our overhaul team. You mark my words. We did have a question earlier, actually. It'd be a good one. We'll just run a very small competition between ourselves on guess Lukaku's price. Paul, come to you first, just to throw you right into the lion's den. Lukaku's price when he joins the game.
11.5.
11.5, you say? 11.5. Liam, what do you think?
I'll go 11.6.
Dan?
11.8.
Swine have to go 11.7, didn't I? I was kind of, I think I was going for 11.5 or 6, but
I think
yeah,
0.5.
it's all going to be around that area, right? And as you say, Kane, Salah, and Lukaku is going to take.
That we could do with him coming in at about 11, really, couldn't we?
We do. I can't see it. And then if you want your Diaz at 10.6 and Van Dijk at, I'm not even sure how much he is, 10.3 maybe, or something like that. And Nathan Lodders thinks 11 million. Phil Speck guesses 10.9. Wilson win 12.5. I tell you what we'll do. Seeing it's a new season, if anyone can get it right, we will give away a Fantasy Football Hub mug to one person. So if 20 people get it right, we can only give away one. We'll do a random winner. But please comment in the chat at how much Lukaku will come in at. And if you win, you will go into a draw with everyone else who guessed that same price, and we will give away a Fantasy Football Hub mug. So please all get in that. Lee Williams all said, just to add Pereira being back, absolutely. I think the guy's pretty hot on Pereira, to be honest. I hadn't really thought of him before yesterday, but definitely one to consider. Sam C. Ings scored today and has very good fixtures. What do you think is one of the 3 striker spots, or do we stay with Tony? I think we kind of answered that earlier, in that the 3 striker spots due to the way the fixtures are falling, the captaincy is probably kind of set in terms of Tony, Salah, and Antonio. There will obviously be other people who are going for different ones. I think the fact that Martinez is here as well, it gives you really good Villa sort of coverage as well, don't it? But and we've answered Tom's question about sounds like Buendia is carrying a hip injury. Who would recommend? We've talked about that for a while. We've answered. I think we've answered all the questions. Actually, no, we've answered the Leicester questions. We've answered Amati. If there are any other questions in the chat, please let us know. We're having quite a wide range of guesses on Lukaku's price. We've got a few. I think the cheapest I've seen is 10.9. Wilson Wynn thinks 12.5, which would make him by far the most expensive player in the game. Gordon thinks he'll be 12, which will match Kane. We've got all sorts of price there, 11.4, 10.5 you learn. I'd love him to go in 10.5.
They're pretty weird about that in the Sky game, and is that they never price the top players at the same as somebody else, is it? There's always a standout.
Yeah, you're right.
12 million striker, and I've never seen it where they've had 2 same midfield as well.
Here's a quick, if you had the option of a Chelsea defender or Lukaku, who would you go for?
I think with the early fixtures, because their first 6 or 7 are not very nice, so I think I would probably go with a defender for the passing, personally, and probably a few clean sheets. But I would think it's game week 7 onwards, I'd probably go for a double up, to be honest. I think well, obviously we'll see how he settles in, but I also think he'll enhance. I mentioned this afternoon on FPL stream, especially Reece James. I don't know if you guys remember the game. There was a few games where Abraham was up front and Reece James put in just incredible balls, and Abraham just couldn't get just anywhere near him. The balls were too good for him almost, and Lukaku's the kind of player I think who will revel in that. So I think Reece James, if he can nail down that right back spot, he should be good for clean sheets, passing. I'm potentially some attacking returns as well, but Plugs thinks Lukaku will flop. Big shout. Did Lukaku make noise during the Euros? I think he scored. I know he scored 2 in the first game, didn't he? I can't remember. Was it 3 or 4 in total? Maybe.
I thought he played really well as well. His hold-up play.
His hold-up play is good.
Better. Looked a lot better than what it was way back in his Everton days, and even some of his Man United spell as well.
Okay, so that is it in terms of questions. Dan, what's upset you this week?
No, nothing, mate. I've been pretty chilled.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. Can I do your job for you? Right, we've got quite a few. We've only got 25 likes. Can everyone just hit the like for us and subscribe? That really pleases Fergie when you do that. Even if you hadn't liked it, just give us a like.
Have you been watching the FPL one? the FPL
Yeah, I've seen you do
streams
it.
where I've been
You get a bit thing with they're a bit odd them FPL a lot, but you're on there like, hey guys, if I get 500 likes, I'm gonna reveal the next section and stuff like this. And
the thing is, I know it sounds ridiculous, but when a stream or video is liked, it then appears much higher in the algorithms. For
the more likes,
things.
the better.
The more likes, the more
subscribers
views
and
it
stuff like
gets and stuff. So it is. Yeah, I know. I was hard at it, but I did have a couple of messages after saying.
But if we could get a few more likes on here, we would appreciate it. Do you know what I mean? Like we could be watching Love Island, but we are here trying to help you get a good start to the season. Anyway, this week, right? Let's get into it. So we did have an argument with someone on Twitter. Yeah.
What did you?
I don't really want to go into it too much because I'm not doing that. Just want to forget about it, really. Don't want to cause any trouble for Will. Don't want to get sacked from here. So I'm not going into it. I just want to say last week, that little clip, when I was having a round at you, I was doing that for comedy effect. Yeah, I don't mean it. Fergie ain't changed. But I clipped out that minute. Well, I know you shop. You don't shop at Aldi no more, do you? You Marks and Spencers. But like I did about a minute or so of that, and me just slating you and stuff. That had like 8,000 views.
8,000.
I got like 100. I got 100 extra followers because of that.
You're joking.
And you know what? I know who Latterizer is, yeah. So I was sort of saying about him, right? But I didn't know it was not Latterizer. I thought he was like the Latterizer, like he's a like this, but it's Late Riser. It's like, is he a lazy bastard? He can't get out of bed. What's Late Riser about? Has he got? Does he need Viagra? What's the crack with that? So I was joking. Fergie's top guy, but
you know your video got 8,000 views, Dan. You should have put your Sky bite-sized clip underneath that, because then I know you enjoy doing that, don't you? So
I just pop it under other things.
Pop it under other things.
I'm just trying to share the knowledge, mate. Some people getting a right old up about stuff like that, and I'd had a hard day. I've been looking after my kids, getting them on nerves, and someone getting my nerves, so you give them a bit, you call them a whatever, that's how it is.
Oh, Gordon, apologies, Gordon. I do apologize. Apparently, I've upset him because I've not answered the question he asked 3 times. I must have missed it. Ask her again, Gordon. I'll make sure we... Oh, Alan. He's asked about Alan from Everton just before we finish.
I think we talked about him last season, didn't we, for the...
He started off
really well. Did he get injured or something like that? Or I think I might have even had him from the start, but...
Yeah, he's 7.8. I remember last year he was good. He got man of the match that first game against Spurs. He got a good few tackles. The only time with Alan, I can't see Everton under Benitez getting passing, so it's just more tackles. Tackles are very, it's very hard to guess when he's going to get tackles or not. He's 7.8. I'd rather take a Xhaka and Didi over him. So probably not. Maybe after overhaul, see he's getting on, but at the moment I wouldn't have him in the team.
Got 6 lots of bonus in his last 6 games last season.
Okay.
But he got the first game he got 7 points. He got man of the match and tackles tier 1. Then second game against West Brom, he got tier 2 passing and tackles. And you think he's doing all right? Then he must have got injured in the Palace game because then he didn't play against Brighton. I don't know what happened, but yeah, he started off right. Then he 15 points in 2 games, so
pretty good.
One to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Okay. Apologies, Dan. I interrupted you mid-rant. Have you got? Is there anything else that's happened this week? All good. How's your channel going?
Yeah, that's all right, mate. I've got like 300 odd subscribers. That's doing all right. It's just a little bit of something just to, I don't know. Just thought I'd just do a little something here and there. I did do something a few years ago because when I used to do stuff with Mark Edworthy, I really like doing that sort of thing, but we couldn't ever tie down a sort of doing a weekly thing like what we do now. So I think I did a few little videos. They're just quite, I like talking. So I just love fantasy football. Do you know what I mean? So I just love talking about it, talking to people. I talk about it all week. Do you know what I mean? I just love talking about fantasy football. And sometimes that gets you into trouble, but do you know what I mean? That's just what it is. So yeah, I just thought I'd start doing that. I might get to a case in a year or 2's time. Will don't want me to do this. So I thought at least if I do something, I've got something I can talk to people about.
Awesome. I did see you earlier, that Gordon did ask as well around the, he signed up to the WhatsApp groups as well. So yeah, you'll be put in a WhatsApp group, and we are all in them. All four of us are in them. I think. Are you back in there, Paul? After you had
I need to
after you had a strop.
My legs and Yeah, I need to go with my tail between my legs and get back in, don't I?
Paul had a strop because people were making jokes about Scotland during the Euros, and he left in a huff. So
I think it was before the game, sort of like people say, "What's the score going to be tonight?" And you'd have thought, sort of, 4-0, 5-0, something. It's like Paul's left the chat.
Paul's left the chat. Brilliant.
I screenshotted.
Okay. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined us this evening for your support and interaction. Definitely, again, I've gone away now with a couple more ideas on my team, but fairly set confidence levels, guys, just before we go, kind of going into next week. I think I'm roughly, I think I'm 7.5, 8 out of 10 at the moment. I'm doing my team thing again now at the moment, don't I? But I think after a couple of changes, by the time we get to Friday, kind of maybe 8 to 5, 9 out of 10, I think.
Just don't want any injuries or anything, do you, in these last sort of few games, or I don't know.
Liam, are you feeling confident going to game week 1?
Yep, I'm feeling confident. It's just more as 3 players, but pretty much the team. I know they've been in there since the start, so it just kind of Buendia replacement. Van Dijk is going to play or not. So yeah, I'm pretty set in the team. So I'm looking forward to Friday. It's good to get it back.
How about you, Paul? Are you pretty set? Do you think?
Yeah,
you said you haven't.
I've only made one change since I built my team, and now just more for ease as well as playing it different. I'm just going to have my B team exactly the same, at least to start with. And
Dan, you confident?
I think I'm getting a bit of pre-season tension, mate. Like I'm now thinking like I haven't looked at the Sun teams. Do you know what I mean? A fan team I haven't done since it opened, and I'm now thinking, oh my god, it's now I've got Monday, Tuesday, I've got them done by Thursday night. I've got 4. I'll have to do a night for each game and get them done. But I'm thinking, oh my god, I've got so much to do. Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly what I did. I did last week. I did the Dream Team. I did the Sky Pod Sunday, Dream Team Monday, FPL Tuesday. And
Loose Women
Telegraph,
Wednesday.
Loose Women and Telegraph Thursday. It really helped me get all my heads in loose.
I listened to you on that Sun pod. I enjoyed that.
Oh, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Okay, the 2021 Football Content Award nominations are now open. If you enjoy our podcast and site content, it would be great if you could spare a minute or two of your time. It's actually less than that. It's about 20 seconds. If you can nominate this podcast in the best fantasy football podcast category, and also for Fantasy Football Hub in the best editorial category. The link is in the description below. And for podcast listeners, the link is footballcontentawards.com/voting. It takes about 30 seconds, but we would really, really appreciate if you would nominate for that. If you still haven't signed up to Fantasy Football Hub, Gordon Hamilton has, as a WhatsApp premium member. He is going to be absolutely loving it, and I'm telling you, he's gonna smash his mini leagues this season. As a member, what are you doing? There's a pre-season 25% discount link in the description below. Members get a copy of Ian's transfer planner, Dan's Sky tips each week, Dan, Liam, and my Game Week 1 team reveal, use of all our fantasy football tools, up to stats comparison tools, masses and masses and masses of fantasy football content. I actually had a complaint on this afternoon's FPL stream that we produced too much content, and it was frying someone's brain. So obviously, pick and choose what you what you read, but everything you will ever need to become a better fantasy football manager and dominate your mini leagues. As I just mentioned, we also have premium membership. If you're not in the premium membership in WhatsApp groups with Dan, Liam, myself, Paul, Mark from last week, Ian Parrin, many others on this stream, are all in these WhatsApp groups, and we just chat Sky Fantasy basically all day, every day. I think it's fair to say. I left over the summer for a bit because I couldn't keep up because of all the messaging, but it's pretty good, isn't it?
It's so good. Like even today, someone's in there like telling you this is what's happened in this game. Robertson's been injured in this, and who started, who hasn't started. I do love it. It's a little safe space for us Sky people, so I do really enjoy it.
It is. Norman says he's voted, but he might take it back and swap it for Dan's bite size. Dan's like, yeah, go on, done it. And Matt Woolley done it, and generally it is really quick to vote. It is. Gordon's asked, a couple of people asked, are we going to do last minute stream on Friday? I probably won't be able to. I don't think. I've got to be honest. I will try and see. But Friday, as you guys can probably guess, is by far and away my busiest day of the whole year. If we can, we promise we will. We'll see what we can do, but we'll let you know, and we'll see if anyone's available to do that. I know what'll happen though if I go on a last minute stream. I'll end up putting Callum Wilson in again. That's what happened last time with Luke Williams. But We'll see. Thanks for everyone who's voted. Really do appreciate it. If we do get nominated, we'll be nagging you again in another few weeks to vote for us for the finalist. But yeah. Dan, where can people find you?
Twitter, Dan Cox _FFH. Or do have a little YouTube channel, Sky Bite Size.
Or you can find Dan commenting under Fancy Football Scouts tweets.
I can't anymore, mate.
Can't anymore.
Been blocked.
Paul, where can we find you?
At Paul McAnulty 1 on Twitter, MCANULTY. And just to back up what Liam said earlier on, if you are making last minute changes, the Sky site has known to crash the hour before the first deadline of the season. So getting early and make those changes, set your captains.
And Phil Speck says you also get a reminder from the hub when your credit card will run out when your membership renews. Brilliant stuff, Phil. Well, at least you know you spent your final £18 or whatever it is on something worthwhile other than the usual crap you buy. Liam, where can we find you?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at Dorrian, DORRIAN, and then Liam.
Fantastic. And my Twitter handle is at FFH_30. I just realised I got my old Twitter handle still on screen. My old one from like 6 months ago. I have to change that. So this podcast and video will be on the Fantasy Football Hub, Sky and TFF YouTube channel, and also available in all major podcast platforms. If you liked what you watched, please press the like button. It would be really appreciated. And remember to subscribe in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And if you enjoyed your listen, please rate the podcast versions and leave some comments. Go to Apple. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, again, it takes 30 seconds or a minute just to leave us 5 stars and leave a nice comment. But it does mean the world to us. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are at FFH_HQ, and our podcast Twitter handle is at FFH_Sky. Please follow. Feel free to ask any questions. And if we don't follow you, let us know and we will follow you back. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you'll find everything you need for fantasy football all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker up, the stats, top player and tier reveals. I won't go all over again, but if you don't join, 25% off now. It's £18 for the whole season, £1.50 a month. You'd be crazy not to. We'll be back at 9 p.m. next Sunday evening, no doubt, bathing in our tears of regret, wondering where it all went wrong when Aubameyang bangs a hat-trick in on the Friday night. Join us. It should be fun. Stay safe and good night all.